Hey guys, welcome back. I'm the Dark One, and previously I said my biggest concern when it came to FF7's remake was the looming possibility of microtransactions and a huge deviation from the established lore or story of the game. And because those points were pretty concise in my previous video on the topic, I would like to elaborate.
Oh, so we're just throwing around big words now? Okay, chlamydia.
Why would...
Mamma mia!
I believe the Final Fantasy remake may not live up to our expectations, but could possibly exceed them?
You said that like you believed it.
Of course, I kinda do. I think. Honestly, I understand this is a bold claim to make since the hype from the 2005 tech demo has reached stratospheric proportions in the last 14 years, way past overhyped territory. And as all gamers know, overhyped things tend to flop due to the fact that they have incredible expectations hoisted upon them. And so my initial thesis for this video is definitely an uphill battle, but bear with me as I try to prove that Final Fantasy VII Remake may indeed exceed our expectations. Probably.
Sure, let the BS games begin!
First off, let's start by addressing the new things that we learned about the game from E3. It has been clarified that the game will be split into 2 Blu-ray discs and be so expansive and story-rich that it could survive as a standalone series. It will be set strictly in Midgard. This is the first game, and for those who don't know or are just too old to remember, Midgard is the first part of the original game and served mostly as setup for the next 40 hours. And it usually took around 5 or 6 hours to complete. So to have an entire game dedicated to what it was previously 6 hours is an interesting point that I will come back to later. Tifa and Sephiroth were both revealed, and oh my god.
Stop! My penis can only get so erect.
And outside of that, we got our release date. A release date. This is actually happening. Like, seeing my childhood in HD is actually happening. This release date is set for March 3rd, 2020, and pre-orders are available now on Square Enix's website, up to $330. You know, for some rich bastards.
Well, I plan to get my copy of the game for free.
I am very scared to even ask how.
How else do I get anything that I own? I just wait for some rich bastard to get his and then rob him.
Of course. But wait, there's more. So if you thought that the active time battle turn-based system of the original was outdated, Square Enix has got you, cause they too hate dinosaurs.
So does God.
I don't think...
That's why he killed them.
The new battle system has been also confirmed to be similar to Kingdom Hearts style, with a slight twist. This new caveat is a hybrid system of Kingdom Hearts and a turn-based style. Yeah, it's pretty weird. According to IGN, playing as Cloud, you can swing the Buster Sword around as you would in a hack and slash, landing blow after blow. But they kind of suggest this is an inefficient way of killing enemies. Essentially, sword attacks are ineffective. That's why you need to combine them with a special ability, which is where our old friend the ATB gauge comes in. Essentially, it's a hack and slash with a pause button and a charge meter.
Yeah, that's not gonna piss off none of the hardcore original fans at all.
It's 2019. It's called progress. Things change.
Yep.
There will be a button that allows you to switch between characters within battle. I personally can't wait to play with Red 13 or Vincent fucking Valentine, as players swap between control characters like Cloud Strife and Barrett Wallace. They build up active time battle meter as they do basic attacks. Once that meter is filled up, players will be able to slow the action dramatically by consuming the meter, selecting spells or special combat moves. That's pretty cool. Players will take control of one character at a time, but that doesn't mean the other party members will simply be idle. Duh. They attack enemies on their own. Enemies have a meter of their own. Really? Oh, okay. Yes. Once it's filled, enemies can be staggered. Of course. Okay, so that's essentially what has been clarified since the E3 presentation. So now back to my original statement. Why do I believe that the game will not flop, but might actually exceed fans' expectations? Am I just retarded?
I have been literally saying that to you for years.
Now, what do gamers expect? Personally, I believe there are three camps. There are those who live in the past, resistant to change and progress since they wear rose-colored glasses of nostalgia, and then there are those who essentially want to see the world burn for the sake of progress and change. And these are arguably more flexible to new ideas that may be presented in the game. And then there's me, or people like me.
Hyperactive man whores with too much time on their hands?
No, the third and final camp lies somewhere in the middle. Those who are ultimately unsure but incredibly hopeful for this new game.
You have to leave. You have to live.
You bastard! Yeah!
Hold on to that hatred.
In regards to the first camp, the gamers who want as much minute changes as possible with maximum graphical overhaul, these are the conservative gamers. Trust me, when I say I understand you, I understand why. Because more than likely, you are the gamers who bought this game, invested in it, pushed it upon your friends and family, healing and singing it praises, possibly generating tons of repeat sales by word of mouth marketing. Yet, it is unrealistic for you or I to expect that Square Enix would just pump out a 4K version of the previous game with better assets. I mean, this isn't Final Fantasy VIII or anything. I mean, I personally would not be opposed to it. I believe to create a proper remake, you should change as little as possible to appeal, firstly, to the core fans that made the game great in the first place. I really do have a nostalgia when it comes to this game. I remember sitting behind my older cousin, who's like my big brother, watching him breed and raise chocobos in the gold saucer just so he could get his hands on a black and a gold chocobo. I remember the moments when I first saw Bahamut summoned and I freaked out at the graphics, or even more, the first time I saw the Omni Slash and I melted in a puddle of nerd rage next to my cousin, probably screaming about how cool it really was, how amazing the scene and everything that just happened on screen really was. I remembered all of that. So trust me when I say I get it. I would love to experience those moments again and possibly share them with my younger cousins. But here's the thing. The only thing that doesn't change in this world is change itself.
That's not true. Let me hold a water stone and I'll show you change.
For the last time, you're not a Squirtle.
That's never been proven.
When it comes to the second camp, those who are fine for total overhaul of the game, a complete updated story and battle system, I must say I can see some merit in your perspective, but I don't agree with it. So fuck you guys. Yes, I understand that creating a highly polished game in our modern time is quite an undertaking, and a new game should come with more to do, explore, learn, which ultimately leans itself towards creating more lore and story. But as I stated in my previous video, the approach I would personally like to see is that they use the existing lore as a bare bones and build upon it, adding only a few new elements, monsters, story threads here and there, instead of modernizing everything, which I honestly think is a bad thing. Honestly, when it comes to the story, I would like to see a little bit more nuance, asking some deeper questions about the existential crisis of their world, and if the ends really justify the means. When it comes to Avalanche's involvement in terrorism, or Sephiroth's plot to conquer the universe.
I am pro-conquering, cause the ends always justifies the means. All hail Britannia!
No one has any doubt that Square will deliver a new epic that will not only be visually pleasing, but also be incredibly fun to play, and yet, I and many others understand instinctively that by improving and changing several of the game's core aspects and stories, Square Enix will not only mess with the overall themes and impact the narrative, but may also ruin the charm that made the original an instant classic. As I gave this idea more thought, I became hopeful. Let me put it another way, by referencing another property. The anime Berserk that follows Guts' journey into becoming the Black Swordsman came out in 1997, the same as the original Final Fantasy VII game. This particular Berserk story takes 25 episodes, the close equivalent of 9 hours to complete. However, many people that I know thought the art style was outdated and wouldn't actually watch the anime, but they actually flocked to the trilogy, which retold the story in half the time, but with amazing visual fidelity and sakuga. For me, the movie was icing on the cake that was the original plot. Since I had seen the anime prior, the lack of half the story didn't bother me at first, but as I evaluated it on its own merits, it became amazingly mediocre. I mean, the story is great on a whole, but as you compare Berserk the anime to Berserk the movie trilogy, the characterizations within the movie falls flat. The lack of small interactions between Guts, Griffith, and the Band of the Hawk that made the tale incredibly human are noticeably missing. And that is to be expected when the movie's runtime is half that of the anime. I mean, the movie made the fights look amazing, but overall the essence of the story was sacrificed to do so. However, this is what makes me hopeful for FF7 Remake. Since Square Enix is doing the inverse of this and expanding on the established story, hopefully building on the foundations that they've already laid. Hopefully.
You're afraid of retcons, aren't you?
Yes and no. In summary, the real question is, can Square Enix please everyone with this remake? The short answer? No. Since everyone will ultimately have different standards for the game, this will be an impossible feat. That being said, change too little of the game and it comes off as a quick cash grab.
Yeah, milking a cash cow after giving us crumbs of cereal for the past 15 years.
Exactly. Gamers and the fans will buy the game regardless of what they change, and Square knows it, since FF7 is their biggest property to date, outperforming FF15. So expanding on the established story is a risky move. Get it wrong and you can ruin the franchise. Do it right and you can reinvigorate it, capitalizing on this era of reboots and remasters. So yeah guys, that was the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that bell to
Burn Kane's landing to the ground.